It's not just about stopping a pipeline.
That's right.
Many, many more things.
I think, I'm sorry, but you're going to have to ask the question one more time, just because that's very poignant information.
Oh.
Sorry.
So, Danny, I'm curious in your understanding of following these issues around Standing Rock. Is there a larger movement that's trying to take a bigger stand to look at everything that's connected to it and what else is at stake?
There is. There actually is a major study that's being done right now of all of the related issues that ripple out from this particular event. Obviously, there's the issue of Native American sovereignty. There's the issue of the respect for indigenous rights with regard to the United Nations. In fact, MSNBC, The Last Word with Lawrence, whatever his name is, just had a big editorial today on the news about the world is watching the signing of the rights of indigenous people to the United Nations, which the United States under the W. Bush administration refused to sign, and the fact that the Obama administration reversed that, and so now, therefore, what are the implications of what they need to do? There's all of the issues of the fact that the oil is still being developed up there when they know that it's generating global climate change. There's the entire issue of the United States under the Trump administration potentially withdrawing from the accord that was agreed to in Paris in December of 2015. There's the issue of straight up environmental contamination with the oil. There's the issue of the fact that the oil is in fact not going to be used even to help provide extra energy to our country at all. It's going to be sold for pure private profit of these people. It's related to the tar sands pipeline, which Trump has declared he's going to now reverse Obama's position and allow them to build the big pipeline all the way through the entire United States over Native American land in a number of places, but also right straight through the Standing Rock Reservation to pump the tar sands all the way down to the Gulf of Mexico to ship it out for energy for other countries. You know, this is... So
it's not even about our sovereignty.
No, it's not about our sovereignty or protecting our domestic sources of energy or anything. So this is... And so there are dozens and dozens of ripples out from the event that's going on right there. The militarization of the police.
Treating protesters like they're terrorists.
And treating them under terrorism regulations and statutes. And so there's a project underway right now to identify all of these issues and to identify the 501c3 public interest organizations that have identified each of those issues as their principal issue, to identify who the allies are of the people that are on site, and to try to mobilize them to send people to participate in this. Because the bottom line is that the way that we have overwhelmed these type of projects before, after you've exhausted all of your administrative remedies trying to show that they're violating environmental policy rules, they're violating regular general environmental standards, they're violating the rights of tribes, all the things that you can show, that what you have to do finally is mobilize all the people and put them on the site. Because then it's going to fill up all their jails. They're going to have to house the people. They're going to have to process them for the courts. You need to provide lawyers for them to say, look, we're not going to be part of any mass trial. You have each individual has a right to have the evidence against themselves. You have to prove it. To put them to their test. If they want to try to outpower the people have to mobilize people power against them, so that more and more people need to come into the site, put themselves and their bodies on the line, and defy them. And so what we're pointing out is that this can be done on federal land. The Obama administration's U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Environmental Protection Agency, the United States Justice Department have all told the Energy Transfer Partners and their Dakota Access LLC, they've been told that they do not have the easement yet, and they can't come on and drill on the federal land. They're apparently in defiance of that. They're taking the position that, two people inside the administration of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers sent emails to them telling them they could do it, and that serves as an easement. They obviously aren't convinced that's true because they filed a motion with the Federal District Court in Washington last Thursday on I think the 14th of November, asking the federal court to enter a declaratory judgment that they in effect had the easement. So this raises a whole other group of people who are lawyers who have to become interested in what's going on here. And the lawyers need to put their body on the line in the courtrooms to protect these people. Okay, so that there's this whole project is going on right now, and the people who are heading up the project are leaving this afternoon from Washington D.C. and they're on their way to the site now. So the answer to that is yes. There's a lot of other issues that are involved and a lot of other organizations, and part of our job is to identify who they are, reach out to them, and remind them of the direct relationship between their issue and the issues that are going on there.
So you've mentioned coming out, standing physically, filling up. That's the first step? Would you say that's like A? And then for people back home, what do you think, is there one call to action legally?
There's a well, what people have to do is there's all kinds of other needs to provide financing. We need to make sure there's secure financing so that it's very safe. The contributions that are given are for heating oil, for tents, for warm blankets, for medical assistance, you know, when they're shooting rubber bullets at people and stuff like that. There's a whole lot of things that contributions can be used for, but we don't want people to think in terms of, I'll give some money to this and that's it. Well, that's necessary. The fact is, people need to change their lives, just like they need to now in response to the Trump administration and the appointment of Bannon and these, Jeff Sessions to be the head of the Justice Department. You know, I mean, this is another rogues gallery. This is very similar to what we confronted back under the Nixon administration with John Mitchell as the Attorney General and Rehnquist as the Special Assistant Attorney General. They bring in all of these kind of troglodytes and they bring them all into one administration. And the fact of the matter is, we have to recognize that when they undertake unconstitutional and unlawful action, then we have to move to make sure that the laws are enforced. So it's that type of thing. People have to figure out what their line of expertise is, you know. And there are lawyers, and there are other people that are doctors and nurses, and there are a whole range of professions that need to see for people to put up housing, you know, temporary housing. People can bring solar generators that they may build. They have a company that builds them. There's all kinds of things that are needed here. This is taking a stand against the potential unlawfulness of the corporations, hand in glove with the Trump administration. That wedding of the interest, and you can see it now transparently, with a raw service on the part of the federal government of the interests of a private corporation to take resources from the Baca in North Dakota and extract them at everybody else's expense, and the threats to the entire drinking water system that's serviced by the Missouri River, and just to increase the profits of one corporation for selling the oil to foreign countries. So
this is not just a safe digging thing.
No.
This drilling, what kind of threat does that have to the watershed?
What it is it's they were talking about putting it up over the river, but the problem is that then if it breaks and leaks into the river, it contaminates the whole river. So they said, okay, what we'll do is we'll drill under it. But the problem is they drill under it, and if it breaks, it contaminates the entire soil, and it seeps up, osmosis. It seeps up into the water table, and you got the entire Oglala aquifer that gets contaminated, and you got, then it'll eventually pump into the river. So this is a reckless disregard for the public safety in the service of private profits on the part of corporations that fund the political campaigns of the guys like Trump, you know, and his coterie, and they need to be confronted that the people are just not going to stand for this. They're just not going to stand for it. And part of our job at the Lakota People's Law Office that's been there in the Dakotas for 15 years. That our job is to try to make sure that what we are doing is as much as we possibly can within the law, so that our people are on federal property. They're not trespassing on property that is purportedly owned by the oil company. It's federal land. The Justice Department supports the opposition to the drilling. The Federal Environmental Protection Agency opposes the drilling. The U.S. Corps of Army Engineers opposes the drilling. And if they're not going to put federal troops there to protect the land, you have the irony of the Lakota people protecting the federal land that was taken away from them by the federal government completely illegally, which raises that question again. Because this is land that was taken away in violation of both the 1851 Treaty of Fort Laramie and the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie. Just as it was illegal taking away the Black Hills. It was granted. It was explicitly acknowledged to belong to the Lakota people, and then the U.S. government turned right around and took it back unilaterally, completely unlawfully. Okay, and so but the Lakota people are saying, look, if the federal government is going to try to assert its claim to the land over the Lakota people, at least the federal government ought to protect it so that it isn't being misused to further damage the Lakota people by contaminating their entire water supply. And if the federal government isn't going to do it, then the Lakota people will do it. If the Lakota people will do it, the people of the United States will do it, and that we will back them. And so that's what's happening there.
Perfect.
As